Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to take a bit of a different approach on the Phanteks Eclipse P500A case, which right from the start I'll say it's pretty amazing, just because I already did the build inside, and you might have seen already my time-lapse video with full custom loop inside as well. Now, what's all about this case? It's not your standard case with standard dimensions. It's definitely bigger, but I think it can support without a doubt an E80 up to E80X motherboard. Now, as you can see, I have a completely different story right here, but let's start what you get with this case. Now, this is the, let's say, an RGB version, and right on front you get three 140mm addressable RGB Phanteks fans, and you get an addressable RGB strip right here at the top of the power supply shroud. Cool thing about the power supply shroud, if you have a nice looking power supply, you have an opening right here so it can be seen as well. Now, for the specifications, what I like to point out is that you could go without a doubt with a 420 radiator on front, and the only thing then I think you have to skip the top radiator, because the fittings on top will definitely collide, and unless you switch it to the other side and mingle with the fittings on front and do something completely different than usual. Now, the side tempered glass is quite easy to be removed. You just slide it, open it on the side and slide it up on top to remove it. Basically, really cool thing, a really cool feature with this case is, well, basically with the side panel, is that you have some dampening pads all along the tempered glass, so it kind of tries to keep the noise, extra noise I would say, inside the case. But it's also good, since this is magnetically sealed, that this protects the tempered glass from breaking every time it crashes inside the case. Now, it's not that annoying that the magnet pulls the tempered glass on the case, but it does make a certain sound that, if you don't have these dampening pads, you might get worried a bit. Now, for the case and what's all about it, it does have similarities to Phanteks Evolve X when it comes to these plastic panels on the side, which can be removed, pushed to the front, pushed at the back, or just adjust them to give some sort of cleanness to the build. Because if you place a 24 pin, you're first going to push the plastic at the back, basically to the front, but the plastic's back, and then just push it right back with the thumb screw, where you could adjust the tightness and then basically hide the cables from the back. The same thing happens on the power supply shroud, where you pull out the cables for your graphic card. Now, this is also really cool because you don't have those rubber grommets, you have only these plastics. And this is quite nice, because usually when you pull cables through the rubber grommets, you get either the grommets go out of the case and you have to place them in right after pushing the cable through it, or something like that. This covers the extra space around the cable and gives you a nice clean look. Now, here we have Phanteks Glacier water cooling stuff. I said stuff, but we have the C360i CPU water block. This is specifically for Intel. Then we have the Glacier G180 Ti. This is for the Asus GeForce GTX 1080 Ti Strix graphic card. I know, but unfortunately I still don't have any RTX that are stronger enough to go with the new blocks or similar stuff like that. And at the back we have something quite interesting that was shown on Computex a couple of years ago. This is the Phanteks Glacier D140 distribution plate. And what else we have here? I use the EK Waterblocks Radiator. At the top we have the Coolstream SE360 and the D5 pump, as well as the EK Quantum Torque fittings with silver rings. Now I wanted to go with some white, silver, black color scheme, but basically when I plugged it in I just picked a purple color just to make it different. Now of course this doesn't have to do anything with the case, but what's it interesting? You could place a 360 radiator on front, 360 radiator on top, and still have enough space to adjust the cables, even to connect the 8-pin EPS at the top, even if you placed already the radiator, because it's a really tall case. You have, as you can see, a possibility to place either 140 or 120 radiator and a fan at the back. So this is really cool, but if you decide to go with the distribution plate, you can do that as well. One thing that this distribution plate does when you're placing it inside, you do need to place the distribution plate and the GPU at the same time, because right here on the far left side of the graphic card, it kind of sticks out right in front of the panel, so distribution panel. So you do have to think about that while placing it inside. Now of course right here on the side you have loads of space. If you don't go with the front radiator, you have loads of space to actually place a D5 pump, and as I did, of course, it has enough space to do it, but you don't have actual holes for the pump. So you either drill some extra holes, because I managed to do something like that, or do something similar, or the Glacier res pump combo. Now what's there left to say? It already has vertical mounts, so you can place your graphic card vertically, but then you can forget about the distribution plate that is right here. Talking about the power supply shroud, you have loads of holes at the back, just enough for placing your cables and connecting them directly to your motherboard. You have a really nice design, and I really love how they placed the Phanteks logo right here, and then tighten it all up with the RGB strip going right beneath the whole line, which looks really brilliant. At the back you have I would say a special mounting specifically designed for a power supply, and first of all you screw in 4 screws through the mounting bracket to your power supply, and then just slide in your power supply as you should. Now the case has a fine mesh on front, so you don't have to have a dust filter, and it's really nicely see-through, so when you plug in your fans and turn them on, they are really nicely seen. At the top you do have a dust filter, which is magnetic, so it's very easy to clean, and at the bottom here right at the back you also have a smaller dust filter, just enough for your power supply. It actually just slides in and clicks at the back, so that's all there is to it when it comes to dust filters. Now let's take a look at the back of the case. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the same sheen as the tempered glass on front. You have 2 thumb screws, and then you just slide out the side panel. As you can see, it doesn't have any dampening pads or anything to protect the outer from the inner noise, but you do have some sort of a dampening pad right here at the back when you close the case, so it doesn't just basically crash towards it. Checking the back side of the case, you have 3 brackets for 2.5-inch SSDs. You have those thumb screws to adjust the plastics on the front. You have loads of standoffs that can help you while organizing the cable management and also tying them up. And you have 6 Velcro ties, which can be used for a perfect cable management. Of course, if you're going with addressable RGB fans, then you have addressable RGB distro plate, GPU block, and all the other stuff. You do get loads of cables at the back, and if you don't organize it as you should, it can create a mess. But taking into consideration that you have like 2 and on some points 2.5 or even 3 centimeters of distance to rearrange the cables, as you can see, I managed to place an extenders to the original cables and managed to do everything quite nicely. Now, just for the sake of it, I will turn on the PC just for you guys to see how it looks. The initial start of the pump is of course always a bit higher to push the liquid through the pipes and through the radiator and everything, so you get initial lower, let's say lower temperatures, but that doesn't matter exactly. But as I said, purple with white and silver and black finish, so yeah, okay. So the one thing that I got from your Instagram comments and the people that are following me over there is, how is it possible to do this two pipes that are going from the distro plate to the CPU and from the CPU to the distro plate? It's quite basically simple. As they did on their official website, you have either two knees going like this and then placing them inside, as you can see from the close-up, but you also have enough space to bend this tube right beneath, well, right before the second tube goes into the CPU. So basically what's it all about? You fill in right here and then the liquid falls to your GPU. Since liquid is going down, it goes through the GPU, fills out the GPU, goes right here back into the distro plate, and then fills this long pipe and goes with the liquid directly to your pump. This way pump never actually has I would say free spin without any water, which also isn't acceptable for the pump since it can break easily. Then the pump pushes the water back to the radiator. Radiator goes back here in the distro plate, returns some liquid to the same loop that I already shown you, and the part goes to the CPU and cools it back. So it's some sort of a parallel loop between the CPU and the GPU, since the liquid splits right here at this junction. And yeah, as you can see, loads of space. You can even go with the longer cards, and even with the radiator on front you can go crazy if you're not going with a custom loop. You can go with the standard AIO at the top with the 360 radiator and 3 120mm fans. Still have enough space for your GPU, and if you decide to place your radiator on front, you can still do it because the case is just really long. Also, what's there left to say? I'm really astonished how it was easy to build inside this case, and really everything is straightforward. There's no fiddling or anything except for the distro plate and the GPU that have to go at the same time. As for the CPU tower cooler, clearance is 190mm, GPU length is 435mm, motherboard height is 280mm, PSU length is 195 with 4 HDD bottom brackets, or two HDD bottom brackets, or if you remove it, 250 millimeters. When we're talking about the front I/O, you have USB Type-C generation 2, 2 USB 3.0, microphone and headphone jack, power button, LED mode button, and LED color button. For the connectivity, you have the power switch, power LED, 12 volts SATA, HD audio, HD LED, USB 3.0, USB 3.1 generation 2, DRGB expansion, third party, and motherboard adapters. And something that I didn't say so far, this case is basically designed for a dual system. And you might be asking where? Well, actually it's right here on the top. You have possibility to place 4 standoffs, put a mini ITX case on top. You can place I don't know, 120mm radiator AIO right here next to it, and just place the motherboard here at the back, and you have the AIO panel right here to connect everything you need. So really incredible and outstanding case. This is how much space you have right here on the top that you can place a mini ITX motherboard. So guys, I'm really fascinated with the P500A from Phanteks, a really outstanding case, and especially with the incredible airflow, loads of space for managing basically anything, even cables and all the other stuff. Do check it out in the description below with the links directly to your local Amazon, where you can check out the price, of course. And if you like the video and the build, of course, click the thumbs up button, comment below about your thoughts of the case, and of course subscribe for future content. Hope to see you in another one. Bye bye.